for the second time. This time in 3D. While I don't love 3D, it's getting better and better. And why I don't love it is it kind of gives me a headache. It moves too fast. But it's getting better and better. And there is a fight scene, which is perhaps the longest battle scene I've ever seen, even in war movies. And the 3D is worth it just for that. I went back to see it a second time. Mason and I, my 14-year-old, saw it about a week ago. I went back to see it a second time because I wanted Nan to see it, and Evan went and saw it as well. Abby was off doing something else. But the other reason I went back and see it is because I was talking with Steve last week about the Avengers, and he said, "So what did you think of the alternate endings?" I said, "What alternate endings?" He said, "Bruce, seriously, you've seen all the Iron Man movies, right? And you don't realize there's always an..." I hung my head in shame. I forgot. And then he said, "But in this one, there's two. There's the one you sort of expect, and then there's another one. Another one is really late." And so as the movie ended, I knew this. I was about to tell you, Mason reached over and goes, "2 endings." So we decided to wait. In the first one, I'm not going to tell you what happens in the end. There's the first ending, and then the credits roll. You know what? There are a lot of people apparently involved in movies, and I never knew that because the credits roll on and on. I'm not kidding. They were sweeping up. They were picking up and we're hanging in there, we're sitting there through it, and then we finally see the second ending, which again, I won't tell you what it is. But there are 2 endings. Anyway, in seeing the Avengers, one of the things that struck me, it was just a peripheral thing, but the villain, Loki, Thor's brother, stepbrother, Loki has let's say, a poor view of sentiment and sentimentality, and so a couple of times he uses it, and he uses it in the most dismissive way, as something without merit, an emotional attachment that you simply have to sever. It's probably not surprising to those young people that I'm not particularly sentimental. That's not something that would ever have been written like in the 10 words about me, that I'm sentimental. Nonetheless, I love the concept of marking moments. Infusing certain moments of your life with the significance that's only born out of time and shared experience. Because the truth is, we move very fast. And often our life proceeds at a pace where we don't stop and take into account what has just happened and how do I make sense of where my life is and what has mattered. And when we mark moments, when we infuse particular moments or places with the significance of the time and the shared experience, we learn things and remember what matters most. Nan and I have a bench. It is a red bench. It is ours. If you sit on it, I will ask you to move. It is ours. There's a red bench in Freedom Park. It sits at the top of a hill, and it overlooks the lake, and it has this beautiful cross-section of pine trees and a garden. It's really a great spot. And so last week, we went there and we were sitting on the bench and we sat for a good bit. And as we did so, we commented how we loved that bench. And there was something that marked the quality of our relationship by that red bench. And then we both remembered the scene from Notting Hill, where there's a scene in Notting Hill where Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant climb, she better than him, but they climb a wall to sit in a garden, and they sit on the bench, and they look back, and there's a plaque on the bench. And what the plaque says was, "To June, who loved this garden, for Joseph, from Joseph, who always sat beside her." Now, in the range of sentiments, that's a pretty good one. And so we wondered, is there a plaque on and there was. And so we read it, this stunning quote, placed here courtesy of the Red Bench Brigade. I don't know, lacks some of the pop, don't you think? But that bench for us is not marked by a plaque, it's marked by the significance of time and a shared experience.